Brady has to find somebody, finds Holmgren, the turnaround shot to tie it, and Chet Holmgren with the three.
Warriors had a huge opportunity here, and they let it slip through their fingers.
How urgent is it starting to feel about, like, it is still very early, but feels like the urgency?
I mean, losing a streak like this is urgency for sure. It's not like you've, anytime you're this many in a row, it's a problem that you got to fix, and you don't want to develop a losing mentality at all at any stretch in the season. Just that's a stink in the locker room you don't really want to have in there.
After a hot 6-2 start to open up the season, which included a 5-game winning streak, the Golden State Warriors went and dropped several consecutive losses. But what's shocking is that they've already lost 6 times on Chase Center at the time of this video, which is uncharacteristic for the Dubs, since they're known to be historically good in defending their home turf. I know we're just about to enter a month of this new season, but the Dubs' recent slump is no laughing matter. And if they don't fix this hot mess that they're in right away, they're going to be in big trouble moving forward, especially now that the teams in the West are playing bigger and getting stronger. In today's video, let's talk about why the Dubs are struggling heavily right now, and why, given their history, this won't last too long. Well, let's go straight to the root cause of their main problem right now, which is their lack of offensive firepower. You can see in this graphic right here that while the Dubs are doing good defensively this season, the same thing can't be said when it comes to their offensive numbers, as they're currently ranked 10th in 3 points made, 5th in 3-point attempts, and from shooting 38.5% last season from distance. Their 3-point efficiency has dropped to just 35.1% this season. I mean, if you do a quick comparison, the Dubs were actually top 1 or top 2 in those specific categories last season. And if they can't hit those threes with high accuracy and efficiency, the Dubs are going to have a long season, because splashing 3-point bombs has always been their bread and butter and strong suit. Now, on an individual level, Steph Curry has been the lone bright spot for the Dubs this season, as the chef has been cooking, averaging 30.3 points while shooting 47.9% from the field, 44.7% from downtown, and 93.3% from the foul line at age 35. And if you take a closer look at his numbers during their 6-game losing skid, you'll notice that Steph was the only one carrying most of the offensive load, aside from the OKC game, where Wiggins bounced back with a 31-point explosion in a losing effort. But in the 4 out of 6 games that Steph played in, no other Warrior scored at least 20 points except for the chef himself. I mean, it's kind of too much to ask for the 35-year-old Steph to carry the Dubs offensively night in and night out. But despite the fact that the chef can still play at a high level, which he's currently doing right now, the Warriors need to send some backup to their main man, because as much as he's been killing it thus far this season, the chef can't do it alone. And with this mentioned, let's now talk about the missing guys for the Dubs as of late, starting with Klay Thompson. Now, let's be real here, guys. Following 2 lost seasons to an Achilles and ACL injury, Klay has lost a step defensively. I mean, he's not the great wing defender that he once was. And offensive-wise, it seems that he hasn't found his rhythm yet this season. So far, across 13 games, Klay has been averaging career lows in field goal percentage, 3-point percentage, and is only averaging 14 points a ball game. Now, these numbers dropped even further amidst their 6-game losing streak, with Klay only shooting 30.9% from the field and an abysmal 28.2% from 3, while only tallying 11 points per game in that stretch. In order for the Dubs to get out of this slump, Klay must find his shooting stroke quick, and even if he's unable to regress to his old all-star form, he can still contribute offensively by being a high-volume, high-efficiency 3-point shooter. I mean, Klay led the league last season in 3-pointers made, and if there's a way for him to get out of the shooting funk he's in right now, then all he needs to do is keep on shooting. As they say, shooters gotta shoot, and Klay should just keep letting it fly with confidence no matter what the outcome is, just so he can find his flow offensively. It's still early in the season, and Klay still has a lot of time to get his groove back. Klay has been in the same situation before, and I'm pretty sure he knows how to respond to this. Anyway, the next guy who should level up his game is Chris Paul. Now, I really have no problem with what CP3 brings to the table for the Dubs. I mean, his passing ability and vision has made the lives of his teammates much easier on the offensive end, and his leadership and veteran experience coming off the bench has definitely helped to elevate the game of the young guns as well as the entire second unit. But while he's doing a lot of things that you don't usually see in the traditional stat sheet, his subpar showing on the offensive end has been hurting the Dubs as of late. Just like Klay, CP3 has been shooting a career low in the field with 38.9% this season, and he's also shooting 30.2% from 3, which is his second worst output since his rookie year. But the biggest thing so far in terms of his offensive woes is that he's only averaging single digits in scoring with 9.4 a ball game, which is something that never happened throughout his 19-year career. Although he shot significantly better and racked up more points during the 6-game losing streak, the point guard has to keep this up and be more aggressive on the offensive end, as he looks for his shot, especially coming from his bread and butter, which is in pick-and-roll situations. Now, I know that CP3 loves to get his teammates involved so that they can get their rhythm early on, but there are times that CP3 has to be a bit more selfish and assert himself offensively by getting to his sweet spots and hitting his patented mid-range jumpers. And during his time with Phoenix, CP3 showed that he can play off-ball and play the role of a kick-out shooter when the situation needs it. So, with that said, there's going to be a lot of scoring opportunities for him coming from different looks. I mean, I know that putting points on the board is not CP3's main responsibility for the Dubs, but if he can be a scoring threat from time to time and say drop 15 to 18 points on a consistent basis, then Steph's scoring load will not be as heavy as it is right now. Plus, the defense will have another player to worry about aside from number 30, and this makes their offense less predictable and allows them to have more variety, as Steve Kerr said they lacked last season. Anyway, moving on here. Lastly, the guy who needs to really step up his game big time is Andrew Wiggins. Across 14 games so far this season, Wiggs seems kinda lost, averaging a career low of 12 points a ball game while shooting just 22.2% from three-point range. And he's also registering 1.1 assists per game, which again is another career low. During the 6-game losing skid, Wiggins performed slightly better, but those numbers are not pleasing to the eyes at all, especially if you're a Dubs fan. Now, if you're a big numbers guy, the advanced stats also tell the same story, that the Wiggins we're seeing right now is so far removed from the Andrew Wiggins we saw in the Dubs title run back in 2022. I mean, out of all the 470 plus players in the NBA right now, Wiggins has the lowest value over replacement player, or VORP rating, with a negative 0.5, which simply means that the players that subbed in for him off the bench are actually performing a lot better than him on both ends. And he's also second to last in terms of box plus minus, with negative 6.8, slightly ahead of ex-Warrior Jordan Poole, who's also playing horrendously bad this season. To sum it up, all of his box score numbers are down, except for an increase in turnovers, which is also negative. And if this continues for Wiggs, I strongly believe that Steve Kerr might bench him for a while just to see how a change of scenery will impact his subpar play. Now, the good thing though is that there's a silver lining about Wiggs, when he had a big bounce-back game against OKC by dropping 31 points on 63.2% shooting from the field and 62.5% from 3, including that supposed game winner until Chet spoiled the party by delivering a cold-blooded game-tying 3 of his own. Anyway, when reporters asked Steph what are the biggest challenges that the Dubs are facing right now, here's how he responded.
I think we obviously know we need to shoot the ball better as a group, limit our turnovers, especially like a night like tonight where we're up 18 and you're giving a very explosive offense, easy buckets in transition, and not, again, connecting the game, taking care of possessions. on a night where you end up hitting shots, those blemishes are pretty costly. I know we've been experimenting with the rotations and lineups that can find some chemistry and develop an identity of how we're gonna win games. And we've shown some bright spots early, but I think through this losing streak, we gotten a little rattled a little bit. So we gotta figure that piece out. And missing Draymond is tough. I was out for 2 games. Seems like a perfect storm of everything. So we have to again maintain confidence in ourselves and our ability to figure it out. But it's gonna take everybody.
It's a really good thing that the Dubs are aware of the problems they have right now, because they still have a lot of time to solve it. As I've pointed out in this video, their main problem right now is that they don't have a second scorer who can help out Steph on a nightly basis. But once they address this, I think the Warriors are going to be back on track before we even know it.